Hello, my name is Nelcy Ramos, meteorologist from the National Hurricane Center, and I'm here today to provide you with the forecast for the next 5 days or through Friday, January 27. This is our surface analysis from earlier this morning. As you can see, we have several features in our region. In the Gulf of Mexico, we have a cold front with fresh to strong winds behind it, and is forecast to merge with a stronger cold front later today and extend from the area of Tampa Bay to the Yucatan Peninsula before moving out of the basin. Currently, we have fresh to strong winds ahead of this front across the waters northeast of Florida, and with the potential of reaching near gale force winds tonight. Otherwise, surface region across the remainder Atlantic waters continue to extend to the eastern Caribbean, supporting fresh to strong winds and near gale force wind off of Colombia with 6 to 11 feet. However, gale force winds are forecast to develop off Colombia Monday evening and continue through early Tuesday with building 6 to 12 feet. This satellite imagery shows the current location of the frontal boundaries as of this afternoon. You can see that we have the cold front in the southwest North Atlantic water with the surface trough ahead of it. This is supporting some isolated showers across this region. And then we have the Gulf of Mexico cold front from the area of east of Pensacola all the way to the area of Veracruz, Mexico. And we can see we have some scattered showers and thunderstorms associated with it, but nothing major, as we have a lot of dry subsidence ahead and behind these fronts, and then in the Caribbean as well, with some patches of low-level moisture with the trade wind flow supporting some cloudiness. These are the wind and wave conditions from earlier this morning with the 12C surface analysis map. And we're going to take a look at the areas of seas associated with the winds that I mentioned before. We have seas of 8 to 10 feet in northwest swell in the north central Atlantic water associated with the cold front. And then in the Caribbean with the strong pressure gradient, we have seas of 8 to 12 foot seas already. And then east of the Lesser Antilles, we have an area of 8 to 10 foot seas also in northeast swell and fresh trade winds. By Monday morning, we expect the cold front to be just north of the northern Bahamas with fresh to strong winds ahead and behind the front and seas up to 10 feet. Farther east, we're going to have a developing gale with the cold front in the central Atlantic waters and seas up to 15 feet. In the Caribbean, we're still going to have 8 to 10 foot feet in the central basin associated with the pressure gradient still generated by the subtropical ridge in the Atlantic. By Tuesday morning, we're going to have the cold front moving past Bermuda Island with the tail becoming stationary towards central Cuba. Fresh winds will be mainly ahead and behind the front with seas in the 8 to 10 foot range. Farther east, with the cold front in the eastern Atlantic, we're going to have a gale force winds in this region of the basin with seas in the 8 to 18 feet range in long period northwest swell. Another area of 8 to 10 feet will be east of the Lesser Antilles in trade wind flow, and in the central Caribbean with the developing gale force of the area of Colombia. In the Gulf of Mexico, with the next cold front approaching the western basin, we're going to have fresh to strong wind developing in this region, increasing the seas to 10 feet as well. By Wednesday morning, we expect both fronts in the eastern and the central Atlantic to weaken slightly with mainly fresh to locally strong winds behind these fronts. However, seas will remain in the 8 to 10 feet range, with the one in the eastern portion of the basin being in the 8 to 15 feet range. With the ridge building behind this front, we're going to have winds expanding, strong winds expanding across the central and portion of the southwest Caribbean, and seas increasing off Colombia up to 14 feet. In the Gulf of Mexico, we will have the next cold front already extending from the Panhandle, Florida Panhandle, all the way to Veracruz, with mainly fresh to strong winds ahead of the front and seas in the 8 to 10 feet range in the northern portion of the Gulf. By Thursday morning, we expect the cold front to be already in the northeast Florida offshore water, extending all the way through the Strait of Florida with fresh to locally strong winds behind and ahead of the front. Seas are going to be 8 to 10 feet in both these regions, including the Bay of Campeche. Farther east, we're going to have a low pressure associated with the former front moving northwestward, increasing the pressure gradient and supporting fresh to strong winds in the north central Atlantic waters that will continue to support seas in the 8 to 14 feet range. The Caribbean will continue to have fresh to strong winds with 6 to 12 feet. By Friday morning, the cold front will have leaves off the southwestern Atlantic waters and conditions will significantly improve. However, eastward, we're going to have the lows weakening as well, but we're still going to have some lingering seas of 8 to 14 feet the next couple of days. In the Caribbean, conditions will prevail as we're going to have high pressure building both in the southwest North Atlantic water behind the front and also in the Gulf of Mexico. Thank you for joining us today. The next briefing will be Thursday, January 26th at 5 p.m. Remember, you can always get the latest graphic and information at www.hurricanes.gov/marine.